No? You need me to be louder? I can do that. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about native plants, okay? A lot of people here in Charleston are very much, I want to make sure that the plants that I put, it's really loud. Okay, so the plants that we place, you want to make sure that they're going to thrive in your environment, okay? So, we're going to start, and the first plant that we're going to talk about is a dwarf azalea, okay? You see azaleas all over the place. You've even seen pictures, I'm sure, on Facebook, social media, of the giant one that the lady planted and it's grown massive. Well, those are a little overbearing. This is a dwarf, so it's not that big. So we'll go to the next screen. All right, some of the benefits: they bloom all year round, okay? So you get beautiful things all year with every season, okay? They work in full shade as well as full sun. They are manageable because they do stay small. You can use them as hedging, screening, foundation planting. It does not work in coastal soil, so if you are beachfront, do not put one there because the soil is too alkaline, okay? Avoid planting it near concrete because the concrete can leach into the soil and it can kill the plant. So you don't want to do that either. The flowers, these are just interesting little tidbits that I found out. Every plant that I'm going to talk about is going to have some type of medicinal property. I don't recommend you doing it. Don't just like say, okay, let me make some tea, that kind of thing. But I just thought these were interesting facts that I found out about. So the flowers are analgesic, anesthetic, and can be a sedative. They are applied externally in the treatment of arthritis, itch, maggots, and traumatic injuries. How about that? The root is used in the treatment of arthritis, rheumatism, and traumatic injuries. Okay. Our second plant is the black-eyed Susan. I personally love daisies, so I am a big fan of the black-eyed Susan. You can use the root to make a tea for worms, colds, and earaches. It can be an external wash for sores, snake bites, and swelling. It is the larval host for a bordered patch and gorgone checker spot butterfly. So that's good. You'll attract butterflies. It is deer resistant, okay? Want to encourage you to understand resistant does not mean it is deer proof. Deer will still try, and sometimes they can adjust to different things, but it is deer resistant. It is good for pollinators, so it helps with your bees, and if you've got any vegetable gardens or anything like that, it's going to help with that. There's absolutely no detrimental effects on the environment, so that's a definite plus, okay? Now, we have the Carolina jessamine. This one is fascinating to me. During my research, I found out, we'll talk about the first one and then we'll get into the second one, but the Algonquin tribe used to use all of the plant, so the root, the leaves, the stem, all of that. They would use it as a remedy for malaria and other fever diseases. Now, it became weaponized because if they took the petals and made a tea, it would render someone instantly paralyzed. So, how fascinating is that? It's such a beautiful, harmless looking plant. We've got it right over here. It's the yellow one. It's beautiful. Wouldn't think anything about it. Nope, it can kill you. So it was used in the 1800s for whooping cough, and croup. It has a strong tranquilizing action, can be a pain reliever, sedative, and a spasmodic for asthma. Again, don't try this at home. Definitely don't just say, oh, okay, let me poison someone. So it is also good for pollinators. It is used to treat eye ailments. It's used in perfume, and it is toxic for humans and pets, in case you haven't figured that out from all the other things I said. Okay, The next one is your eastern redbud. It attracts beneficial insects, okay? So it's a beautiful tree. I had one in my backyard, and I am not a heart person. We're getting ready to hit Valentine's Day. I am not a heart person at all, but the leaves are heart-shaped, and it is just a beautiful tree. And then when it buds, it's amazing. So, but medicinal purposes for it, your inner bark can be used to treat colds, sore throats, and skin infections. It is used in furniture making. The red bud is actually a smaller size tree. So if you're not wanting like a giant oak or a maple, then it's a good option for you to just kind of accent your yard. It is adaptable to all soil conditions. It is drought tolerant. It's low maintenance. Some of the bad things about it, it does have a short lifespan. When you first plant it, you need to make sure that you're watering it really, really good and heavy in the very beginning. It is susceptible to pests, and it is prone to certain diseases. It does shed leaves in the fall, so it can be very messy. And it is brittle. It can break in strong winds, which we do have strong winds down here, so keep that in mind and maybe put it on a side of the house that is shielded a little bit more. Okay, we all know this. This is South Carolina. We got a sable palm. We've got to have a palm in there because you know they're native. The bud on the sable palm is edible. It is considered the heart of palms, so you can go and buy it in your grocery store. It's also called swamp cabbage. I think I'll stick with the heart of palm, right? Okay, the fiber is used to make nettings. The fronds are used for food and basket weaving. It is an evergreen, so it blooms in your spring and summer, and then the fruit is full maturity and edible in the late summer and fall. It is hurricane resistant, which is why we have so many here in the low country. It has a long lifespan. It is good full sun, part shade, or full shade, so another one of those that's good. It is tolerant of saltwater flooding during storm surges, and we know we have a lot of salt water that likes to hit, okay? It is also used as a nesting for birds and a roosting for the yellow bats. So when the leaves start to turn yellow, that's when your bats go and roost there because they blend and they can be hidden. So that's kind of cool. It's also a pollinator for bee, and it is a host plant for the monk skipper butterfly. So now we have our sea oats. Who loves sea oats? Aren't they so, I think they're so cool. So they are incredibly important to the coastline and barrier islands. So if you do live coastal on the beach, this is something you want to make sure you have, okay? Because those roots go deep and they spread out and they reinforce the earth so that when you have flooding and you have the waves and the tropical storms, it's going to be really good and protected and stay. It is edible. The indigenous people used to use the oats to make a flour. Okay. Now, it is currently illegal to do that in South Carolina, so if you're at the beach, don't grab it and eat it or go home and make flour. But I think if it's in your backyard, you're probably safe. You know? It is also drought resistant and immune to fungus infections. It provides food for birds, marsh rabbits, and beach mice. Have you seen beach mice? They're so cute. Just, you know. Okay, now we have the southern magnolia. I love me some magnolia trees, but man, they are messy. Leaves all over the place. But they are, of course, useful in furniture making. They make Venetian blinds and doors out of them. They are medicinal. It aids in reproduction. So if you need some fertility help, I don't know, plant a tree. It helps with abnormal feelings during breathing. It has anti-cancer properties. It improves sleep. And let me tell you, I'm in menopause and I could use some improvement in my sleep, improvement. It relieves stress and anxiety, and it supports against or protects against inflammation. The evergreen can reach 120 feet tall, and It smells amazing. How many of you have like magnolia scented candles, perfumes? I mean, love me some magnolia. All right, moving on. We have our oak leaf hydrangea. I love a hydrangea as well. I can't grow it myself. I lived in Kernersville, North Carolina, had the bushes. They never bloomed. I was like, I really want one. They might be blooming now that I've moved. I don't know. But they help birds and butterflies and other pollinators. They add year-round texture. Once it's established, there's no chemicals needed, and don't have to water it as much. Okay. Medicinal purposes for it. You scrape the bark and you can make a poultice for burns, and the Cherokee Indians did that. It can also be used, the root tea can be used for kidney stones, and if you need to throw up because you ate something poisonous, you can make the tea leaves or tea out of the leaves and drink it, and it will induce vomiting if you really want to. Okay? It is good for full sun to light shade. Now we have the ear-leaved tick seed. That's a mouthful. I had to double check every time I was typing it in to do research. I was like, they should change its name. I don't know. But here's another one that is deer resistant. It grows easily. It has low maintenance. It tolerates humidity, but not as drought tolerant as some of the others. The songbirds eat the seeds, and it is also a pollinator. Then we have goldenrod. Love these plants. A lot of people have allergies to them, so you need to make sure, but it is, I can't think of the one that it is similar to that it gets confused with, but anyway. Medicinal purposes, tuberculosis, diabetes, enlargement of the liver, gout, hemorrhoids, internal bleeding, asthma, and arthritis. In folk medicine, it's used as a mouth rinse to treat inflammation of the mouth and the throat. They thrive in sunny locations. It survives well in average or poor soil, so that's a really good thing to keep in mind. If you've got soil that just nothing wants to grow in, okay? It thrives in 65 to 80 degree temperatures. It is crucial to the winter survival of many honeybees, okay? So you want to make sure, we all are hearing about honeybees and how they're just diminishing, and we want to make sure that we stay on top of those honeybees. So this is a good one to add because it will give them protein and fats and minerals during the winter months. So they are non-toxic to pets, but they are toxic to horses, and some species of goldenrod can be invasive. It is also drought tolerant. All right. The last one that we're going to talk about that is native is our red maple. Okay, beautiful color. Come on, you can't get past that. That was amazing. It works well near ponds and creeks as well as dry areas. Do not plant it or close to sidewalks or patios because the roots will crack your sidewalk. Okay, it is vulnerable to breakage during high winds. So again, think about that when you're figuring out where to plant it in your area. Okay? All right.